Almost every competition gives this topic. Write a feature article about a person who influenced you. Sounds easy, but here's the truth. This is also where most writers lose points. So today I'll show you how to write this topic in a way judges remember. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, I'll teach you how to write a feature article about a special person, may it be your mom, teacher, or mentor, in a way that can win competitions. So we'll go step by step, headline, intro, body, ending, and I'll explain everything using a competition style example. Let's start with step number one, which is understanding the topic. This is actually very important. All right, I'm just going to show you the screen. So when the topic says a person who influenced you, judges are actually not asking for praise. They're asking for a story of influence in action. I repeat, a story of influence in action. So here is a weak approach in choosing a topic. My mother is my inspiration because she is hardworking. Instead, here is a strong approach. Show a moment where that influence changed the writer. What is that moment where that influence changed you as a writer? Right? Now let's move on to step number 2, crafting the headline. Should be Downstyle and it should not be cheesy as well. All right? So let's start with the headline. Use Downstyle and avoid emotional cliches. Here is a competition level headline example. All right. Lessons learned before the school bell rang. That's the headline for our example feature article. So why this headline works. I repeat, lessons learned before the school bell rang. And why this works. Firstly, we're using the down style, right? That means I only capitalize the first letter of your headline, which is L in lessons, and the rest down style, right? Unless it's a proper noun, of course. You have to capitalize the first letter, right? Okay. Number 2 reason, it suggests a teacher, right? But it doesn't say it directly, right? That's the beauty of this headline. It doesn't say it directly, all right? It suggests a teacher, but it doesn't say it directly. And number 3, it creates curiosity, of course, all right? So if your headline already says my inspiring teacher, judges already know what's coming. So don't say it directly, okay? Here's another tip. Your headline should hint, not explain, all right? So let's move on to step number 3, the intro. All right, this is where judges decide to continue reading your article. So your intro should drop us into a specific memory, not a biography. All right, here's an example of a winning style intro. Before the first bell rang, Mom Lisa Reyes was already writing on the blackboard. I was usually late, usually quiet, but she still looked up and smiled as if she had been waiting for me. All right. So why this works? It's actually a scene based, right? So drop a specific memory, a specific scene. All right. Number 2, specific detail. This intro uses specific details, right? Mom Lisa Reyes. First bell rang. What else? Writing on the blackboard, and the writer being usually late and usually quiet, right? Those are specific details, right? And third reason why it works is that it is emotional but subtle, not too emotional, right? Emotional but subtle, right? Here is a tip. If your intro can be used for any teacher, then rewrite it. Okay, you have to be as specific as possible. All right, now let's check where is that emotional part in this intro, emotional but subtle part in this intro. Let's read the last line. But she still looked up and smiled as if she had been waiting for me. All right, as if she had been waiting for me. So that's emotional but subtle, right? Now, we're moving to step 4. We're moving on to step number 4, the body. Show the influence. All right. Now, here's the part where you prove the person mattered, right? A strong body usually has 3 movements, right? So remember about these 3 movements in your feature article, specifically in the body part, right? The context, number 2, the struggle or turning point, and number 3, change. So mnemonics, CSC. C, context, S, struggle or the turning point, and C, the change. You have to show that in the body of your feature article, right? When your topic is about a person who influenced you, right? So let's discuss the context part. Here is an example. Mom Reyes taught English, but her real lessons were never in the textbook. Okay, you have to answer who is this person in your life, right? Who is Miss Reyes or who's Mom Reyes? In this example, Mom Reyes taught English, but her real lessons were never in the textbook. Okay, now let's move on to struggle or turning point. Show a moment of impact, right? What is that moment of impact in your story? Okay, here's an example. When I failed my first speech, she didn't correct my grammar. She asked why I was afraid to speak at all. Talking about struggle. Failed my first speech, right? That's the struggle or the turning point. When I failed my first speech, she didn't correct my grammar. She asked why I was afraid to speak at all. Okay, number 3, change. How did the writer change? Right, you have to answer that question. How did the writer change? That question stayed with me longer than any lesson. Okay, so that's the actual line in the body of your feature article. That question stayed with me longer than any lesson. That reflects change, right? Again, for the body, judges usually look for these 3 movements: the context, the struggle or turning point, and of course the change. Remember, judges don't score personality, they actually score transformation, right? Hence the change. How did the subject influence the writer, right? So practical tips. Here are additional practical tips for the body. Use at least 1 strong quote. Okay. 1 strong quote only is doable, right? But if you can put in at least 1 more, I mean at least one quote, then that would be fine, as long as those quotes are strong. Okay. Number 2, focus on actions, not adjectives. Okay. All right. Do not focus on adjectives, focus on actions, and avoid long background paragraphs, especially if they're unnecessary. Okay. Let's now move on to step number 5, the ending. So how do you end your feature article? So this wins or loses it, right? Most feature articles lose here. So here's a winning ending. Example: years later, when I stand in front of a class I still hear the bell, but I also hear her voice reminding me that confidence is taught long before it is tested. Okay, a winning ending should not summarize. So this is not a summary. It does not say she inspired me, but it leaves an image or realization, right? Years later, when I stand in front of a class, I still hear the bell, but I also hear her voice reminding me that confidence is taught long before it is tested. See that? The influence continues quietly, right? So why this feature wins in competition? So this article works because, of course, the headline invites